my name is Ashley, and today we're just doing a short little cozy rainy weekend reading vlog. Don't worry, I am indeed clothed under here, just in pajamas, but I'm fully embracing the cozy this weekend because I just really need it. I have been having a rough go of things recently, just with illnesses, and I ended up in the hospital last week because I thought I was dying of appendicitis, but it turned out to just be a standard GI bug, I guess. I don't know, but it was the worst pain I've been in my life, and I got poked and prodded and tested for things, and it was a very rough couple of hours that day. But do not worry, I am fine now. I just am recovering from some kind of stomach illness that I somehow got, even though I almost never leave my house at this point. I had that a couple weeks ago. I had what I think was probably COVID. I was sick for like two and a half weeks, and I'm still kind of coughing. Like, I just still can't get rid of a really aggressive cough. So I'm tired and I feel like my body is just begging for rest. So I'm trying to just have a really chill weekend. It's raining all weekend. I have so many books I want to read, and I'm just trying to relax because next weekend I have to not only go to, but also be a part of a wedding. And so this is the time to really rest and reset before that. So I'm just gonna be having a very chill time this weekend. This is gonna be probably a pretty short reading vlog. I am behind on videos because I haven't been feeling great, and I've got these plans coming up next weekend, so I'm not really gonna be able to film much this coming week. Apologies for the schedule being a little bit behind right now, but again, I'm just trying to take care of myself and rest and relax. So we're gonna keep it really low key this weekend. I have read a couple books already. It is Sunday, so I'll tell you about what I read yesterday on Saturday, and then I'll tell you what I'm gonna be reading the rest of today, and then check in on that, and then that'll kind of be it for a short little sweet little chill reading vlog. So first up, let's talk about Heartstopper. So you would have just seen in the clips before, but I decided that I wanted to finally get into Heartstopper. I have owned this first volume of Heartstopper for a very long time, a year and a half, 2 years maybe. It's been a very long time, and I just haven't picked it up for some reason. I don't know, I just haven't really been in the mood for something wholesome and sweet, but yesterday I needed something wholesome and sweet, and so I decided to start the TV show first. If you don't know, this has been adapted into a TV show on Netflix, and a lot of my friends have been watching it and loving it. I don't know anyone who doesn't love this book or who doesn't love that show who's watched it, and so I just decided that was like the sweet little cozy thing that I needed yesterday. So I started watching the show, and after 2 or 3 episodes I was absolutely obsessed, and I decided that I wanted to pick up the graphic novel kind of in between watching the episodes. So I started the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then I picked this up and read the whole thing, and then I finished watching the entire rest of the show. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a story about these 2 boys, Nick and Charlie, who go to this grammar school in the UK somewhere. They're around like 14 to 16 years old. Charlie is a bit of a nerd. He's gotten picked on. He came out as gay like last year from where the story begins. And so he's been bullied a lot for being openly gay. And Nick is the like most popular boy. He's like head of the rugby team, like the cool dude. And they end up getting sat beside each other in their form class. I don't know what that means because I'm not from the UK, but I imagine it's like what we call homeroom maybe in the US, like just kind of a standard class that you have to go to every day. But they end up getting sat beside each other, and then they just kind of spark up a little friendship, and then that develops into a romance. Oh my God, it's so sweet. I knew everyone said it was sweet and wholesome, and I imagined it was gonna be cute, but it is so soft and so cute and so sweet. I cried so much watching the show just out of pure joy, and it just felt very cathartic. That's how I feel anytime I see really solid queer representation and stuff coming out today. It's just so cathartic to see that be so openly accepted, and to think back to like my school experiences and how people were not received this well. I mean, there's definitely still bullying in that show, and so they still face those kind of issues, but the fact that this show even exists, and the fact that this kind of media even becomes popular and ends up in the top 10 things on Netflix, like we just weren't celebrating queer stories like we are today 10 years ago. And so it's very cathartic and very sweet and very soft and wholesome to see that. So yeah, I absolutely love the show. This I read in between a couple episodes, and I was curious if the first season was going to cover just the first volume, because I know there's at least 4 volumes out now. I didn't know if the show was just the first volume, that would be a little bit more. And the first season of the show definitely goes beyond the first volume. All I have is the first volume, and the first volume is kind of covered in the show around episode 5 or 6, and there's 8 episodes in the show, so you get more in the show than you get in this first volume. But I'm really glad actually that I watched the show before picking this up. I don't feel like this graphic novel, and I mean there's no way for me to know at this point, but I don't feel like I would have fallen in love with the characters as much as I did in the show from just reading this. Like, I feel like the actors did such a good job on the show that it really made me fall in love with all of the characters. And in this, I don't know if I would have loved it as much if I hadn't had the show first. So I'm really glad I did the show first and then read this, because I just love these characters. I can't wait to read the rest of the volumes. I want to pick them all up super soon, and I cannot wait for more series in the show. Oh my god, it's so good. I need more seasons. I need all the seasons. It's amazing, and I loved it so much. I also read another book yesterday that I finished this morning, and that is The Stars Are Not Yet Bells by Hannah Lilith Asadi. This is a book that I haven't really heard anyone talking about. I saw it on, I think, a tour list. I talked about it in my May TBR and how I wasn't really sure what it was, if it was like fantasy, sci-fi, horror, literary fiction, where it kind of fit in that spectrum. Upon reading it, I would definitely classify it as like a literary fiction with a little bit of magic in it. Like, it just feels kind of magical. And there's a little bit of unexplained things going on, but it could have a real life explanation, but you just end up not getting any explanation, so it feels kind of magical. What this story is about is you're following this woman named Elle, who is reaching the end of her life, and she has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and she's trying to piece together her life. She's reflecting a lot on her life. She gets lost in time a lot. And basically in this story, you're just kind of following her, reflecting on her life and getting lost in the memories and trying to piece together the story of what has happened to her. She lives on this island that is like off the coast or near Savannah, Georgia, with her husband Simon. They moved there 50 years ago because he had this business opportunity to try to get these like special gems or diamonds or something. There's like this lore about there being these blue lights in the sky, or these blue lights that you can see in the ocean, so it looks like there's these things in the bottom of the ocean, which after reading some reviews, some people think there's like a real life explanation for that, and they think it has something to do with some kind of technology. Other people just are left kind of not knowing. I just didn't think too much about it, but they go to try to like get this impossible thing, and they build their life there. He builds his career there. They have children there, but now the business is in danger of shutting down. There's like a lot of issues around that. There's a man who came with them when they first moved there named Gabriel, who is not with them anymore, and she's trying to kind of remember what went on with him. And it's just kind of a mysterious, haunting book that really just feels super nostalgic and just really, really somber the whole time. This book has incredible atmosphere and it has incredible tone. It really feels like you're reading like an MFA project. Like, the writing in here is so lyrical. The prose is so beautiful. It feels like reading one giant poem. I could open any page and read something to you and it would just sound like absolute magic pouring out of my mouth. Like, this is written so well. I'll read just the beginning for you as an example. So this is just the short little chapter 1. It is not yet the end. Moss descends from the oaks, thick as curtains, veiling the night's secrets from the living. A wild mare and her foal are out to feed before the dawn. Seagulls bark their hunger at the sky, and Lyra, our island, remains above the sea. The ocean has not engulfed all this, even though I have woken from that dream I've had again and again over the decades. In last night's rendering, after the island had burned and sunken into the waters and all the stars had fallen into the Atlantic, I could still swim. And beneath the surface, wandering among the blue constellations like a mermaid, at last I found Gabriel. Like, oh my god, it's just so beautiful. And there would be so many times when I would read a sentence again and again and again because it was just so impactful. And I was actually reading this to my partner when I first started it. I was reading it aloud because I was like, listen how beautiful this book is. And even he was like, ooh, when I read a certain line. And he is not a lover of anything related to literary fiction or beautiful prose at all, but he was like, wow, that's a great line. So I think this is just a truly stunning work of literature. It is just so well written. I would definitely read from this author again. Overall, I would rate the book about a 3-star though. Really love the writing, really beautiful. Definitely a book that if I was ever writing something, I would open up and read a couple lines to get some inspiration for how to write beautiful prose. But ultimately, it's a pretty plotless story, which is fine, and I like those sometimes as well. But I don't know, it kind of just feels like you get this really small slice of life of this woman's life. It's very haunting, very beautiful, but it just didn't do like a lot beyond that for me. you really only get close to your main character, Elle, and you learn a lot about the other people in her life. But I don't know, I just felt myself wanting a little bit more from this story in some way. I don't know if I could exactly put my finger on what I would want more from this, but I just felt myself wanting a little bit more. But it is really, really beautiful. It's a book that you can read all in a day. And if you just want to read some really beautiful writing, then I would definitely recommend picking it up. So that was my Saturday, was reading these two books and watching Heartstopper. I also went to go see the new Doctor Strange movie with my partner last night. That was okay. I'm not the biggest MCU person, but he wanted to watch it, so we went to go see it and it was fine. But yeah, today I'm going to be picking up Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I have both the physical copy and the audiobook, so I want to just like chill with the audiobook and a puzzle for a bit. I want to read it physically a little bit as well, and I'm just excited to see what I think about it. I have really loved Emily Henry's stuff in the past. I have just kind of liked it in the past as well, so hopefully I'll at least like this one. I have been seeing kind of mixed reviews for it, but I'm remaining hopeful. I hope I can really love this one as much as I love People We Meet on Vacation. But that's what I'm gonna do today, and then I'll check in with you when I have some thoughts about the book, and we'll see how far I can get today. I am obsessed with this book. I'm 124 pages in right now, and it's actually pretty long. It's almost 400 pages. I didn't know it was going to be this long, but I am so glad it is because I am absolutely loving it. I was definitely nervous because I have seen some not great reviews. I've seen people complaining about different things with the book, but I've been trying to not pay too much attention to the negative reviews because I didn't want to be biased. I just wanted to be able to enjoy this if I wanted to enjoy it, and I am loving it. I'm loving it. It is so cute. The banter is so good. The characters are so relatable and so real, and the banter is so good. I feel like that's what Emily Henry does so well, and that's what I love so much in romance, is just the chemistry between the characters and just the way they like make these deadpan jokes back and forth to each other, and oh my god, I love it. So what this book is about is you're following this woman named Nora, who is an editor in New York City. And she is very much like the typical New York City woman, works really hard, really type A, really organized, not having great luck in love. And she makes this whole kind of like joke about it. And it's so funny, like the idea of this character and what Emily Henry has chosen to write about here. Like she talks about all of those like Hallmark stories where the guy goes and visits his small town because he's got to go try to like save a dying local business, and he ends up, you know, meeting a girl there who's like really sweet, but he's still got to like call his girlfriend back in the city, and she's just really uptight and awful from her Peloton, just like being a bitch. And he ends up falling in love with like a sweet girl in the small town who teaches him what he should really care about, and leaves the terrible ex-girlfriend for this new girl. And she is saying she is like that terrible ex-girlfriend in the city, and that this has happened to her multiple times. She keeps getting these boyfriends who leave and go get the small town experience and go fall in love with someone else, and like she's just this evil villain character. That is such an interesting concept, to follow that character who you're predisposed to hate and to not side with, because, you know, this is a character we're all familiar with. We've seen this character in story after story, and they're never the main character. And to make this character the main character and to give her a love story, I think is really cool. So I love her. The plot of the story, she has a sister, Libby, who's pregnant, and she already has 2 kids. She's really tired, and they're just disconnected a bit over the past couple months. And so Libby wants to take Nora on a vacation and go do the small town thing. She's like, we should go visit a small town, and like maybe you'll get your love story, but like it'll restore us. We'll make a bucket list of things to do. It'll be a great vacation. Let's go do it. And so they go to this small town in North Carolina that's like outside of Asheville, which is where this book is based, that Nora was the editor for. That's like a really big bestseller, and her sister loves the book. So that's why they go to that particular town. But I didn't know the book was going to be set there, and I'm from North Carolina, not Asheville, but kind of close to Asheville, and I love Asheville. Asheville is one of my favorite places in the world. This book is set in this pretend town called Sunshine Falls, which I don't think really exists. But so far there hasn't been like a ton of the town in the book in the first 100 pages. I'm really hoping there's more of the atmosphere because I just love Asheville so much. Like, it's so near and dear to my heart. So I hope we get to see more of like the mountain town North Carolina stuff in the book. So far there's like a couple things like southern restaurants they go to that feel very familiar to something that I would see in my hometown, where like the staple is Coors Light and fried foods, and like don't order the salad there because they don't even know how to make a salad. But yeah, I hope we see more of like the town atmosphere, because I think that would just be really cool since I am from there. But yeah, anyway, on to the romance part of the story. She ends up running into this guy there in the town that she knows actually from the city. He also works in the book publishing world, and they had a pretty uncomfortable run-in 2 years ago. She didn't get the best first impression of him. He didn't get the best first impression of her. And they're running into each other in this small town, and it's gonna be their love story. And I'm obsessed with it. It's so cute. I love everybody so much in this book. I love the banter. I love everything. I'm having such a great time. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I am obsessed. I'm also listening to the audiobook. It's also a great time. Definitely recommend. And it's also narrated by Julia Whelan. I never know how to say her last name, but she is definitely my favorite audiobook narrator. So it's even more wonderful that she is narrating this audiobook. And yeah, I'm just having such a lovely time. So I'm gonna keep reading more of this. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it today because it is like 400 pages, so that might be a little bit unrealistic, but I'm gonna read as much as I can because I'm having such a good time. It is now bedtime. So we have officially made it to the end of this little cozy weekend reading vlog. I did not finish Book Lovers, but I did get about halfway through. I'm at page 184 right now, and I'm for sure gonna read more of this when I go to bed tonight, but I just wanted to end the vlog authentically at the end of the weekend instead of stretching it out through Monday or Tuesday just for the sake of finishing this book. So you can stay tuned for my monthly wrap up at the end of May when I will tell you my full thoughts on this book. It's probably gonna end up being good since I'm already having such a good time and I'm halfway through. Odds are I'm probably gonna enjoy it quite a bit. I also might post on my Instagram stories and updates, so make sure you're following me there. My Instagram is just at Ashley's Little Library, just like my channel name, and I might post some updates there too once I finish this book in the next couple of days with my full thoughts, or abbreviated full thoughts, before I give my real full thoughts and my wrap up at the end of the month. But yeah, as of now, it's so cute and I love it so much, and I'm obsessed with these characters. My feelings haven't changed at all, and I'm already feeling sad knowing I'm gonna have to wait like another year for another Emily Henry book after this. Like, I just want more. They're just so good. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave you with my experience with this book. Otherwise, to wrap up the weekend, I read The Stars Are Not Yet Bells by Hannah Lilith Asadi. This one was an okay time for me. Definitely beautiful writing, but not a book that really blew me away in any other way other than the fact that the writing was really pretty. And then Heartstopper, which is a new favorite of mine. I never told you what I rated the graphic novel, I realized as I was editing this video this evening, but I ended up just calling it like a 4-star on Goodreads. It's so hard to think of what I would think of this graphic novel without the show, because I watched the show first and I just love those characters so much. I love the actors. They just brought it together so well. But when I read the graphic novel, I mean, it's very, very close to the show. There are literal word for word things that they took exactly out of the graphic novel and put in the show. So if you enjoy one, you're gonna enjoy the other, I guess. But I don't know. It's like, Out of all the graphic novels I've read, I don't think this would be my new favorite graphic novel alone, but I love the characters. So I'm going to pick up the rest of the volumes, hopefully this month. So if I can get to those, then you'll see me talk about that in my wrap up at the end of the month as well. They're just kind of hard to get, I'm finding. I think they're also available online, but I kind of want to just like have them all sitting on my shelf now. So I'm gonna try to get to the rest of the volumes this month. And then I feel like that'll be easier for me to get a sense of how I feel about the books when I get into the parts of the stories that I haven't seen in the show yet, and then I'll see how I feel about that. But yeah, definitely a really good time. Love the show. Highly recommend both the graphic novel and the show. But yeah, that is it for my little cozy weekend of reading. I wish I had like a whole nother week to just sit here and do this, or you know, like perpetuity would really be nice. Just be able to sit and relax on a rainy weekend and read books and not really worry about anything else. But alas, that is not the case. Life must go on because capitalism. Anyway, if you have made it to the end of this video, you can leave me. I know we did rain emojis in the last video because I was talking about May, but this was a rainy weekend reading vlog, so we have to do something rainy. So let's do an umbrella specifically for today's emoji if you want to show me you got to the end of the video. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.